So what I'm going to cover here is breakfast cereals, the superfood. Actually, it's more like a functional food you've been led to believe was deleterious to your health. One of the key factors in what makes breakfast cereals healthy is the fact that they're fortified with micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals that help to add to the micronutrient profile of the average person's diet. Of course, not all breakfast cereals are healthy. Breakfast cereals that are healthy tend to be things like shredded wheat, not sweetened shredded wheat, but shredded wheat, oatmeal, unsweetened Cheerio type products, and things of that nature. So your options should remain the lower sugar options, the higher whole grain options, the higher fiber options, and of course you should always be eating fortified cereal, which is fortified with micronutrients, which add to the micronutrient profile of your daily intake. It's odd because I used to eat Total Raisin Bran and Total Bran Flakes, and for whatever reason I can't find them anywhere, or if I do, like on Amazon, they're like a gajillion dollars for a box of Total. And Total used to have 100% of, it was like a multivitamin in a bowl. Now, what you also have to understand is another thing that you have to, what do you put on your cereal? Well, if you're concerned about your health, now this is the other thing. If you actually look, the breakfast cereals, the research that's in the description shows that breakfast cereals contribute a great deal of antioxidants to the human diet, to the American diet. And again, this has to do with fortification, but it also has to do with the whole grain nature of certain cereals. In fact, it appears as though a serving of breakfast cereal contributes as much or more as a serving of vegetables, probably because the average person eats so few vegetables. People don't eat enough vegetables. Like when I eat a serving of vegetables, being that my meal is centered around vegetables, I'm eating 5+ servings of vegetables every maybe 2-3 times a day. Which a serving of vegetables is not that much. I think it's like a cup or something like that in most cases. And I'm eating like 4 or 5 cups at a sitting. And see, with me, obviously the vegetables are contributing more antioxidants than would a bowl of cereal. But for the average person, no. That cereal, as long as it's a whole grain, health-promoting, fortified cereal, is promoting more antioxidants. The other good thing is whole grain wheat cereals and other whole grain oat cereals and things of that nature contribute to they have prebiotics which help to nurture the right bacteria in your guts. So it helps to build up the microbiome. And the reason I did this video was I have avoided breakfast cereals for a long time, and I still do for the most part. If I'm eating cereal, it's going to be oatmeal. I'm not a big fan of breakfast cereals. Although there was a sale that had to do with Kellogg's Raisin Bran, and I bought some of that, and I ate the cereal, okay? But Raisin Bran is a relatively low sugar cereal. Most of the sugar does come from the raisins, but this is the thing. When you're on a low carbohydrate diet, it's not about how many carbohydrates you have at a single meal. It's about the ratio of carbohydrates to fat to protein, okay? So you want, like with me, I want to keep my fat relatively low. I want to keep my protein relatively high, and I want to keep my carbohydrates on the moderate side. And having a bowl of cereal is not going to mess up my ratios too badly, as long as I'm not eating, 6 cups of cereal a day or something like that nature. And even then, if you're exercising like a frantic maniac, you can burn off those carbohydrates. But remember about Dr. Atkins and the metabolic advantage. And the thing is, lowering your carbohydrates does give you a metabolic advantage. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is there are protein fortified cereals like Kashi Go Lean Crunch, which was a cereal I ate in my early 20s, probably like 20, 21, 22. And it's a healthful cereal for the most part, except for the fact that it is sugar sweetened. And that's what you got to watch out for. So it has high protein. So there are protein fortified cereals, but there's things that you got to watch out for with these cereals. They're fortified with protein. What kind of protein are they fortified with? If you're a vegan, a lot of these, like these protein oatmeals and stuff, have whey protein in them. So they're not compatible with a vegan diet. What I like to do is I like to take hemp protein, which is relatively cheap. Thank goodness for now, it's relatively cheap. So I take hemp protein and I put 5 or 6 tablespoons of hemp protein in my oatmeal to increase the protein in my oatmeal. And this helps also with fiber and omega-3 fatty acids and yada 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 yada. But that's how I fortify my oatmeal with protein. And you can do that with beans, and you can put hemp protein in a lot of things so long as the hemp protein is not flavored. And it usually isn't. But the thing is, you can also do the same thing with soy protein. But what you can't do if you're a vegan is you can't be eating whey protein because it is a dairy product. Now with me, a lot of people, I'm a lazy vegan. Like if I go to a restaurant and I order a salad and they accidentally put cheese on my salad, I rarely go to restaurants anymore, especially because of the unmentionable thing that shouldn't be mentioned. But if I order something and it accidentally has cheese on it or something, I'll eat the cheese. I'm not gonna, or if I find out my veggie burger was grilled on the same grill as hamburgers, I'm not gonna throw a fit. And that's like with the Impossible Whopper, that's one thing. A lot of vegans don't know that, but the Impossible Whopper is grilled, generally speaking, on the same grill that regular Whoppers are grilled on. So you're getting some of that meat juice onto your and meat fat onto your Impossible Burger. But the fact of the matter, you can actually have it microwaved if you're that picky, but when you're ordering food from a fast food place, you generally don't want to piss off the people handling your food. That's one rule I have in life. Never piss off people handling your food. And so my point is, now I wanted to get into the history of breakfast cereals. Being that I do my utmost to follow an Adventist lifestyle, where do breakfast cereals come from? Well, the original breakfast cereal, Corn Flakes, actually it was originally Wheat Flakes that was created by John Harvey Kellogg's brother, who was actually the founder of Kellogg's cereal. But the creator of the cereal itself was John Harvey Kellogg. In a way, his brother actually made a mistake and put the cereal through a roller, and it came out, the dough that he made that had fermented, and he put it through a roller, and it came out as flakes. And those flakes were wheat flakes originally. So essentially, he decided to use corn because corn was cheaper and it actually, corn tastes better. So he eventually created Corn Flakes. And then what made him break with John Harvey Kellogg is he wanted to add sugar to it, which would create Frosted Flakes. And John Harvey Kellogg was not a big fan of adding sugar to a breakfast cereal that was meant to promote health and treat dyspepsia. So dyspepsia is stomach upset, in case people don't know. It's a classic term for stomach upset and nausea, things like that. So essentially where cereals come from is the Seventh-day Adventist religion. In fact, that's why you have things like Wheat Bix and things like that in Australia. Australia was a very big... Adventists really helped shape Australian culture quite a bit. To the point where it's very underappreciated, I think, by people that don't know. Because how could they appreciate it if they don't know? But there is a lot of Adventist influence in Australia and New Zealand and places like that. So how it works is breakfast cereal was originally a health food. Unfortunately, it only remained a health food until about the 1950s, when it became sugar-laden. So a lot of the misconceptions about breakfast cereals come from using refined carbohydrates, okay, and adding sugar to already refined carbohydrates, and not caring about the health, whether they promote health or not. So even if a cereal is fortified, a sugar-sweetened cereal being fortified, sugar, because remember, ascorbic acid is a carbohydrate. So when you eat a lot of sugar, whether it's sugar from fruit or sugar from table sugar or sugar from breakfast cereal or what have you, or corn syrup, that's going to interfere with your ability to absorb vitamin C, because vitamin C is actually a carbohydrate. Also, overconsumption of milk, like dairy milk, impedes the absorption of vitamin D, go figure, because milk is fortified with vitamin D. And you might be saying, oh, well, that doesn't sound true. No, it's true. And the thing is that, so what should you splash on your cereal? Okay, that's what I'm getting at here. There are a number of good plant-based milks. Of these include almond milk, cashew milk, things of that nature. But what I like is the traditional soy milk. The Silk Company has created a very high protein soy milk that has 20 grams of protein per 8 fluid ounces. So if I'm having 2.5 cups of cereal for breakfast, which is rare, but say that's my whole breakfast is 2.5 cups of cereal and 2 cups of this milk, this helps to balance the protein ratio in the protein to carbohydrate ratio in the cereal. And most of the carbohydrate in the cereal is not coming from added sugar. And that's what I'm getting at here, is you have to look at not only the cereal you're eating, what are you splashing on it? Is it milk? Is the milk going to, remember, milk impedes the absorption of phytochemical-based antioxidants, but it also seems to impede the absorption of vitamin D. So you have to take into mind what is going into this whole meal that we call breakfast. And again, butter, if you're eating regular cow's milk butter or just milk butter, there are minor amounts of protein in that milk. As Dr. Atkins pointed out in his book, The Age-Defying Diet, if you put cream into tea, it completely negates drinking the tea because the proteins in the cream bind with the antioxidants, and this holds true for other phytochemically based antioxidants, as we know. So the thing is, if you're putting butter on your whole grain toast and eating that along with your cereal, remember, cereal contributes to the antioxidants that people are consuming. However, do you want those antioxidants to be active or inactive? If you want them to be active, consume something like soy milk or almond milk or cashew milk or something like that that has its own antioxidants, but also go for the unsweetened. I don't know why so many people choose to drink sweetened soy milk. Again, with the Silk Ultra, yes, it's better because there's more protein in it, but you need to choose the unsweetened silk milk, not the sweetened silk milk. Okay, that's what you need to keep in mind. So I would recommend, remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a nurse, I'm not anything like that. I personally use unsweetened soy dairy products because that's just what's going to be beneficial to one's health. And that's all for this video.